Hey you guys, so it's been a while since I've done one of my more formally structured videos where I provide feedback or commentary on a subject or a situation, and I do plan on doing one of those on my next upload. However, this video will be informal and it's going to serve as more of a rant as opposed to me covering an article or a story, and I'll try to keep this short and sweet so that way this video doesn't go over too long. But I am growing so tired of these perceived allies, these alliances, or these partnerships that supposedly exist with other factions of people who are experiencing periods of tyranny and acting as though the conditions of their lived occurrences are somehow juxtaposed with deep-rooted systemic issues that we face. And I was actually speaking with a subscriber of mine late last night about this, and I talked about how society has this propensity to group us in with other communities of people who go through some type of a struggle, and how it seems like black people should be apoplectic at the notion that society sees us as nothing more than a struggle group of people. And what the larger society is saying inevitably is that based on societal classism and racial oppression, the moment a non-black group of people face a controversial or a life-changing situation, then they should immediately just run to the black community for support that's expected of us. And honestly, this is something that I grow extremely tired of. Then it's like they should run to the black community for support and it's expected of us, yet this same intersectional compassion is never really reciprocated and extended to us. And I find it so funny because I remember last year, it actually wasn't even until last year that during the height of the George Floyd case, that it seemed like suddenly everyone seemed to recognize and understand that Black Lives Matter. And the thing that's so funny about it is that the Asian community support was immediately thrown behind them without hesitation, but it's like there was no mention of any kind of all lives matter rhetoric or any interactions that would have taken attention away from what they were going through. So really the larger society, when you think about it, only has a problem with the word black. And I say that because when you think about something like literature, where the word black itself is often most times associated with negative imagery and derision, then it really isn't surprising that life imitates art. And really, when you think about it in that regard, that's just what it is. And I made a few videos expressing that I would not extend an olive branch to the Asian community because of their history of anti-black expressions and behaviors that they've openly displayed on numerous occasions. And I won't go into too much detail about why I don't have sympathy for the Asians, but I will leave a link in the description box so that way you guys can kind of see where I come from on that. It'll be a little bit more informative. I feel that it will do a better job at kind of outlining some of the key points and why I lack contrition for Asians when they face disparagement. So please make sure you guys go and check that out. But I also want to say this, the same can really be said about any other group of people that are non-black outside of that, because when we show support to people outside of our community, this same patronage is almost never given to us on a collective scale. I remember during the time of when Paris had gone through their ordeal, when they were under attack, everyone had this support, and Facebook had even created a filter where you could use Paris's flag as like an overlay across one of your profile pictures. And I find it funny that Facebook didn't have these same measures for when the black people lost their lives in the Charleston church massacre by Dylann Roof. So when you think about it, it's just kind of like overall, no one really has our backs. I mean, and if you guys don't remember, Dylann Roof was that cave dweller who they claim was suffering from some form of psychosis. They ended up taking him to Burger King or something like that after he got done basically massacring a bunch of black people who were basically bothering nobody. They were just in church, you know, doing what they typically do, their day of worship. And the thing that's upsetting about it is due to the lack of care and concern, I think it can be largely said that no one has any intentions on making sure that real tangible change comes to our community. And this is why with symbolism, it's utilized, because black people largely cannot seem to comprehend that symbolism is not the equivalent of physical progress. It simply means that people will do things like stand in solidarity with you while no forms of legislation are being passed to help remedy the systemic oppression that plagues your community, which is the real issue. And I say it many times in a lot of my videos that one step that black people can take towards reversing some of the problems that we face is to reevaluate the way that we process what goes on in our immediate environment. Start to ask more questions about how people approach you. I mean, ask yourselves the hard-hitting questions like, does anyone in this world truly have our backs? Does anyone wish to see the conditions of our community improve? Or is their purpose simply to give off the impression that they are working to change things for you? And this is the same practice that's used heavily by liberals, but this isn't a political video, so I'll just leave that one alone. But the bottom line is this: if we choose to do nothing and we just continue to strive for equality rather than figure out ways to plan and strategize solutions to achieve liberation and independence, then one of two things will happen. Either we'll stay in this perpetual state of stagnation, or we'll just end up facing extinction. And although I'm sure extinction is unlikely though, because subjugation is a large component that really kind of keeps the structural machine of systemic oppression operational and fully functional. So the last thing the larger society wants to do is their own work. I don't think that they would do something like that. So they would just rather have us do their work for them, all while keeping us divided and at war with each other. And I need for us to burn that cape already. Long gone should be the days of unrequited, non-reciprocal support while we give all the support to everyone else. I feel like I could sit here all day and list the numerous instances of hypocritical situations and double standards that exist when it comes to the response of society and their treatment towards certain situations. But then I would be on here much longer than that. So with that being said, I'm just gonna leave it there. I had to get that off my mind because it was bothering me so much with all of this Stanford, the Asian community and all this. I just had to just give my 2 cents on that. But make sure you guys share your thoughts on this situation. Check out the link to that video in the description box. It will explain more thoroughly what I couldn't on this video. And don't forget to make sure you like this video. Please share if you care. And subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for your continued support, and I will see you in the next video.